What is up, Gorilla Nation, and welcome back to another Division 2 video. But if you would be so kind, please show some love to that like button. Also, smash that sub button if you happen to be new to the channel, and don't forget to reach up there, trigger that bell, and turn on post notifications, so that way you never miss a live stream or a video that is uploaded. Also, if you want to further extend your support for the channel, you can click on that join membership button and become an exclusive member of the Gorilla Militia, to where you'll get custom emotes for live streams. Also, you'll get membership buttons alongside your name to show off your support for the channel, as well as tons of perks in the perk section that you can check out by becoming a member. And that includes shout outs, help with builds, and etc., and the list goes on and on. So go check that out if that may interest you. Well, State of the Game was today, and I must confess, and I'm pretty sure that most of you are, it was a little lackluster and disappointing. And I'm going to probably have an unpopular opinion on what was discussed in this State of the Game. But, you know, after all, it is my opinion. But I'm also interested in what you thought of the State of the Game that aired today, too. So the first topic, when it comes to, as far as the focus talent, paired with like the M1A and the whole scoped in thing, which is I know that needs to be fixed, but they also mentioned it as far as being utilized with a shield. Now, this is just my opinion, but as strong as the M1A is, no nerfs more or less was mentioned or whatnot, so it kind of makes the marksman rifles very underwhelming, pretty much the majority of them when compared to the M1A rifle. But in my opinion, I don't think that rifles should be able to work with shields. I mean, it's kind of like a no-brainer, obvious question. I mean, it's a rifle. It's not meant to be played with a shield, much like an LMG is not meant to be played with a shield. Now, I could understand pistols, assault rifles, and of course SMGs, and for me, my personal opinion, I think that's the only weapon archetypes that you should be allowed to use when trying to use a shield, because I mean, it's kind of like one of those no-brainer kind of things. It's like, you know, why would you want to use a shield with the M1A as it is? It's just another form of more or less cheesing the system, and it doesn't even, what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't even seem relevant or even possible. Like, you know, if you ask somebody, you know, should you be able to use a rifle with a shield? I mean, if you are able to use a rifle with a shield, then why not a marksman rifle as well? Because the M1A is stronger than some marksman rifles. So I don't see the point, and that is just my opinion, that I don't think rifles should be able to be used with shields. LMG shouldn't be able to be used with it. And the only weapon types that should be able to be used with it is ARs, SMGs, and of course possibly, you know, shotguns and pistols as well. But, you know, just those four things. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. I mean, you look at the base damage and the damage that you can, you know, accumulate with a rifle, and then pair that with a shield. That's just kind of like an extra Chuck E. Cheese pizza kind of moment. That's just like going, you know, a little bit too far right there. Next is the topic is more or less the so-called, I'm just going to call it recalibration part when it comes to exotics, as far as upgrading them from, you know, 1 to 30, 30 to 40, which is essentially the same process. But they really didn't get into specifics as far as the attributes themselves, as far as the percentages in which you'll get, if they would actually be, you know, better, or the way RNG is very lackluster when it comes to, you know, especially like if you had any kind of experience crafting anything in the Division 2 thus far, you get crappy rolls. So essentially, let's say if you're taking like the Eagle Bear or a Pestilence, and let's say it has 5% all the way down, 5% LMG damage or 5% AR damage, 5% to damage targets out of cover, and let's just throw in 5% health damage. So if you have something like that, then it is very obvious that you want to take the chance on getting something stronger. So, and essentially in that perspective, with just having that 5%, then that's a, you know, pretty much a guaranteed thing. Well, you're going to upgrade from a 30 to a 40, and it's going to have better stats. But let's just hypothetically assume that it's 10%. Let's say, going down the line, let's say it's 10, 8, 8. So a little bit above average, but, you know, not like, you know, perfect God rolled on any stat. So essentially you're going to be taking a chance, and you might end up, let's say, going down from 10 LMG damage or assault rifle damage to, let's say, 7, and then only gaining like 2%, I guess, in, let's say, damage to health. So you'll be going from like 7 to 9, then let's say it just gives you another 5 in the third one. I mean, in my opinion, I think they could come up with a better method than that, but I'm going to hold my complete judgment and see actually what happens when that goes live and we're actually able to do it. Also, I mean, in my personal opinion, back to the whole rifle thing, I saw some of the comments, and I do believe the M1A still needs to be nerfed, and some of the marksman rifles need to be buffed. Another unpopular opinion, I think that aces and eights should go back to the way it originally was. They completely screwed up that gear set, in my opinion, because it was one of the best, if not the best, support type builds in the entire game. And now it's just kind of like, it's like they wanted to become close to Deadeye versus the way it was. So in my opinion, I think they need to switch aces and eights back to the way it originally was. And then of course the exotic holster, I saw some comments in the comment section about it too, as far as the dragon whatever that catches you on fire kind of thing, as far as the range on it, which is, I can probably necessarily agree to a certain extent, but I can't really comment on it because I have yet to acquire that holster, so I can't really speak on that. I can just base it off of the people I've come in contact with and ask as far as what they thought, what should be done as far as that. And also, I love the pestilence. I think the pestilence need to go back to the way it was, because I myself prefer the mist of piss over the way it currently is, as far as the tick, that is more, I guess, along the lines of the same tick that you got from Predator's Mark from Division 1. I think they should reduce the range of the NPCs or players within, reduce it from 20 to 10. And that's just my opinion, and I'm a pestilence lover myself, but that is just my opinion, that they could reduce that to 10. And probably tweak the whole negotiator's dilemma type thing, as far as the radius on it as well. And then when it comes to negotiator's dilemma, to be honest, it's kind of cool they tried something different, but I think the way that the current game is right now, that it would actually be good and not be overpowered or too cheesy if it was the same exact way the way it was. And then another, I guess this will be the last point and topic, and also don't forget, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about these topics, or anything else that you might want a video done on next, as far as me speaking my opinion, and or just trying to find out my opinion. Feel free to ask whatever you will in the comment section below, and I will either comment there, or if it's something really big and relative, and we can get a couple topics together, we can have another discussion and another video on those topics as well. So let me know in the comment section below. But before this update, it was super easy to have 100% hazard protection, and it seems like they flipped the script to where it's not as easy to acquire the hazard protection to prevent or protect yourself from status effects, but instead they kind of flip-flopped. Now it is super easy and status effects are super strong, but you're limited on the ways in which to get that complete immunity or protection from hazard protection. And if you do, you miss out on a lot of DPS, and I think there's some balancing issues there that I think it's the 511 or something like that. For 3 pieces, for the third piece you get 10% hazard protection. Now let's say if they want to keep it the way it as is, as far as when it comes to status effects, in my opinion, like the one piece yaw gear, instead of 10% hazard protection, I think they should bump it up to at least 15%. And then for that third piece, as far as on that brand set, for only getting 10%, since that is the third piece and you have to wear all 3 pieces, so at 10%, I think they should bump that up to 20. So that would give you a little bit better options when it comes to making builds and utilizing some hazard protection in them, because let's just face it, everybody and their grandma is running some kind of status effect, and pretty much status effect is king. And if you're not doing that, then it's all about DPS and damage, because you can have 1.7, 1.8 million armor, but completely shooting marshmallows at someone. But yet you could have a DPS, that may only have 1,000,000 or less armor, but super high, and essentially you can kill each other at the same, rate as far as DPS versus a tank. And it's just more dependent on, what talents or what synergies you're running or utilizing with those with your group, as far as the exotic chess piece, point guard, things of that nature. That's all dependent on that. And it seems like the go-to on pretty much everything is crit chance and crit damage, and there's not really a lot of flexibility or diversity when it comes to builds, when you're having to rely on more or less making sure you get the most bang for your buck, having to spec into crit chance, crit damage on everything. The health attribute on pieces, I think, is kind of useless. They could change that to something else. And then this is another going to be a little hot topic, is when it comes to Fox's Prayer knee pads, and of course the Petrov gloves. I mean, let's be honest, that's the best in slot. If you want to get the most DPS boost out of everything, then you want to try to incorporate the damage to armor that the Contractor Petrov gloves gives you, and then of course the targets out of cover with the Fox's Prayer. Now, I'm not sure exactly how they should more or less switch that up, but it's just become like one of those things where you kind of have to, not really have to have it, but if you want to be the best or whatever, or get the most thing out of it, the DPS wise, then you more or less are forced to do that, especially when you're going with a DPS build against another DPS build. But let me know what you guys think, or what should be done, or if anything, whether it be being able to take those stats off, or so that way you can apply it to other pieces, or give me some suggestions in the comment section below on what you think is some possibilities. Or if you just prefer just to stay the same and nothing to be touched, if that's your opinion, then let me know also in the comment section below. But I think there's a lot of balancing issues that definitely need to be addressed, because especially if you're doing like heroic and legendary, it's more or less a necessity, especially if you're doing any kind of speed runs, to run an M1A, and that's not really having a lot of build diversity in the game. So that is also one of the other points that I was trying to make as far as the M1A. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'm eager to know your opinions and your thoughts, and maybe some solutions that you think would be beneficial to the game, as far as when it comes to balancing and just more build diversity. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Appreciate all the love and support. Don't forget to smash that like button, share, and subscribe if you happen to be new. But we'll see you guys fledging later.